What's up, YouTube? Saturday morning here, Kyle at Let's Talk Wax, and today we are going to finish up our three-part series on Prospecting 101. We are going to talk about the selling aspect of things. We've gone through researching prospects, we've gone through the buying process, and now it is time to sell our cards and try to make some money. I've told you in another video, this is always the hardest part for me because I have a sentimental attachment to my cards sometimes over time. You know, long-term holds, you can get attached to your cards. The really nice, graded blue autos, they just look so great in your collection, it's hard to let them go. But there's always going to be another card, for you to go after and to keep in your collection that just, you can kind of sentimentally attach to. But we're going to start it off pretty quick here. This would be the shortest of the three videos. Selling is just a matter of timing. I've told you in other videos, the best time to sell is when baseball season starts. You can make money just by buying in the off season and selling once the baseball season starts back up. So, general rule of thumb, just if you want to make a couple bucks, you could buy a bunch of cards in the off season and just flip them right away when baseball season starts. You may be leaving some money on the table doing that, but it's pretty much a solid guarantee that you are going to make a little bit of money doing that. If you're looking for a higher return of your investment, well, we're talking about Bowman Chrome prospect cards. There's a lot of situations when guys' value kind of starts to increase. One situation, I've got 4 listed here. One situation is when a guy gets really hot in the minor leagues. Some of these guys are young, they're 17, 18 years old. They haven't developed a lot of pop, they haven't developed a lot of power. They may have had a bad rookie season, playing in rookie ball where pitchers are just kind of all over the place. It's a really tough place to hit for a lot of kids. A lot of kids getting their feet wet in their first professional season. But, their sophomore year in minor league ball, they may break out. And, their prices may increase because people do watch these things. And that's what I told you in the research section. The part 1 of this series was to really keep an eye on your prospects, stay organized so you can keep an eye on your prospects. But, watch your guys because you never know when they're going to jump, when they're going to have a great season. That's going to cause your prices to increase. Number 2 and number 3 kind of coincide. It's before a player gets called up, and a guy's going to get called up because they're going to talk about it and say, hey, this guy's getting called up to the big leagues, and that's a great time to throw your cards up for sale. Just because the guy's getting called up and people are going to buy the expectation that he may get up there and perform very well, and they're going to buy just based on that idea. They're going to take that risk, and that's going to drive the price up a little bit. And what coincides with that is you could also wait and sell, and see if that player does have a lot of success at the MLB level. I bought Alec Bohm before he got called up, and I actually was buying Alec Bohm while he was, playing, his first couple of weeks, right before prices got to an all-time peak. And I actually chose to hold all my Bohm cards just because I'm so high on them. But anyway, you could wait until that player performs and you could see, what he does. Now, there's always the chance he may go up there and strike out 9 out of his first 10 at-bats. Dylan Carlson was a prime example. He was a very highly touted prospect, and he struggled in his debut. Struggled greatly. He got sent back down to the 60-man player pool. So, if people didn't sell right away when he got called up and they waited to see if Dylan Carlson was going to hit, 5 or 10 jacks, in his first month of rookie ball or not in professional baseball, they may have left some money on the table because he didn't do that, or they may have taken some money off the table because they didn't do that. So there's a bit of a gamble in that selling aspect. But one thing that I do to kind of prevent that is I like to buy multiples of the guys that I like. I like to have more than one card of guys that I like. And, I'll put a picture up here of my Brandon Marsh collection, and you know, I think 4 graded PSA 10s of Brandon Marsh because I never know when his price is going to spike. So maybe I want to sell one right when spring training starts. Maybe I want to sell one right when he gets called up, and then I'll have 2 to hold on to, to see if he really does take off. And either way, I'm probably going to make a little bit of money, but I'm trying to keep as much profit as I can. So it makes that process and that decision making a little easier when you have multiples. When you just have one, you got one shot at it. So it's a little tougher in that aspect. The fifth thing you got to think about as far as selling, the fourth thing is just sporadic increases in value. It's weird how this happens. A prime example would be Luis Matos. Out of the recent 2020 Bowman Chrome checklist, his cards were selling for, $55 for base autos, around $80. I picked up an $80 auto, just about a month and a half ago, and I was buying a base auto for $55, and now these things are selling for like $100 for a base auto, $150 for refractor autos, and nothing has happened. Like, there's been no baseball. No one's played a game. This guy has not done anything, to make that price inflate, which is the wildest. And I just think it's people catching on to the fact that this guy is a dude. He hit a lot of home runs. He had like a 1.1 OPS. He killed rookie ball, and but that stat's been out there. It's not like those stats developed in the last month. I just think people kind of caught on to this guy, and his price just naturally increased, and that's something that you've got to look at. You have to be aware of those things. You have to stay on top of your prospecting game if you want to try to make money, But there are random influxes in prospects just for random reasons, and Luis Matos is a great example of that. Just happened, in the last couple of months. I actually sold both of those Matos as they, rose up, and I went and added a KB Hayes, refractor quad 9.5 BGS card to my collection. So you're always looking to make moves as a seller. If you see opportunity, sometimes jump on it. The biggest tip that I can give you, for selling is keeping an honest report on what you bought cards for. And I should have mentioned this in the buying section. When you buy a card, you want to inventory that card immediately. Don't wait, because you will forget about it, and it will get lost in your 100 count, your 800 count box, whatever you keep your cards in. It will get buried in there. It will get forgotten. So inventory that card as soon as it comes in the mail, the quickest chance you get. And, I have what cards I bought here, the date that I bought them, and exactly what I paid for them. So I always know when I can make profit, all right? I'm not just guessing and saying, I think I bought, this Brandon Marsh PSA 10 for $30 or $40. I'm not really sure, but if I sell it for $50 and, you ended up buying it for $60 and you lost $10. So know what your cards were bought for, and that will help you, increase your rate of return when you go to sell. You'll know how much money you make. And, for me, I have all the sold, all the profit. It's all in a chart, and I can see what I bought, what I sold for, what I make, how much I'm in for. And this is just for this year. But do that. It's the best tip I can give you as far as buying and selling, to stay organized in that aspect. Keep a list. Know what you paid for your card, okay? Before you sell, before you decide to sell, no matter when you decide to sell, of all the 4 options I gave you of when prices are probably going to increase, be sure to check the value. We've been to 130 point already in this series. We are going to search eBay recent sales, and we are going to type in, whoever we want. I'll go with Brandon Marsh since we've been talking about him. Bowman Chrome Auto. My typing is terrible, guys. My fingers are cold. It's a little cold down here today, and I'm just mashing buttons right now. And, we'll get our value. The last 3 have sold for 24, 24, and 20. So, we're looking at about 22, 23 bucks for this card. We know what it's selling for right now. So I can go back and I can look at my singles data, and say, well, I don't have a whole lot of profit here to make, so I'm not going to sell right now. So going back and forth between your data and the current data, that's a good way to make sure that you're making the best return on your investment that you can get. Another thing you really want to think about, and let me bring my movie here to the front. I forgot to float that. Another thing you want to think about is when you're selling, take good pictures. You underestimate the tiniest things. And as you can see here in the picture I'm going to put up, there's 2 pictures of 2 different baseball cards. One picture is fantastic. The other picture is not fantastic. And it means a lot to a buyer when you have a good picture. Take pictures of the back, take pictures of the front, and don't give a picture of somebody with glares and terrible lighting. People want to buy a nice product, so try to put the best picture of your product that you can out there for them to see. Another thing to think about when selling is, just being honest about the condition of the card. Don't try to sneak, a dinged corner or a crease or a dimple or a huge surface scratch. I know they're raw, but just be honest with the people you sell to. And, keep your reputation up as a person who is going to be honest about the things that they sell. The different places to sell are just like the places to buy that I talked to you about in the last video. We're going to be selling on social media, Facebook predominantly. I have, like I told you before, I have my own, buy, sell, trade site that I run, and we're trying to go, and you can see it there. The blowout forums are a great place to buy or to sell, but the last place on earth that I would ever try to sell my cards would be eBay. eBay is just so bad right now with the quality of clientele that you reach out to. It's almost impossible to sell raw cards. People are always, wanting to return raw cards. They're swapping raw cards out. Ones they already own that are in terrible condition, they're swapping them out and sending you back their terrible card and keeping your card. It's just, there's so much bad stuff going on eBay because it's so easy for a buyer to hide behind a profile. And I've told you this in my latest videos, there's not a whole lot of seller protection through eBay. And it's just a really difficult place to sell right now. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying if you can avoid it if you can sell on social media and you can sell in forums, do that first. But if you absolutely can't sell a card, or you have something that's in such high value that you can't get rid of it, and the only place you're going to be able to appeal that card is eBay, do eBay. But if you can avoid eBay. That's just my personal opinion. Maybe people disagree with me on that, but I just have a hard time selling on eBay. So last story for buying. I talked about being patient in the other videos, but it also applies to, selling. Sometimes you invest in a prospect and that prospect just kind of struggles. He has 1 or 2 bad seasons, and you're sitting there, you've been sitting on his card for 2 years, and you're thinking, man, I'm tired of looking at this card in my collection, and I'm just going to let it go. And a story that I could tell you that happened to me probably 5 or 6 years ago with a guy named Michael Chavis was I bought 2 blue autos for like $26. I saw these somewhere. I think it may have been even on Blowout. Somebody was unloading 2, Bowman Chrome, Michael Chavis. I think it was 2014 blue autos, and I bought them for about $26 for the 2 of them, so $13 a piece. And I sat on those cards for a year or 2, and Chavis really struggled early in his minor league career. He struck out a ton. He didn't hit for the power that people thought he was going to. And I said, I'm just going to try to save myself from losing all $23, and this was when I was just starting up kind of. So $23 seemed like the world to me. So if I could just, salvage $10 out of this guy because he was struggling so much, I was in to do it. Well, about 6 months after I sold the cards, Michael Chavis starts hitting a lot of home runs. Michael Chavis doesn't strike out quite so much, and he starts hitting for a little bit of average, and he's playing for a premium team. So Michael Chavis cards start to skyrocket, and I'm sitting there looking at how much these cards are starting to skyrocket, and I'm kicking myself, and I'm kicking myself, and I'm kicking myself just for $10. I probably left $500 or $600 on the table at that time, just to try to make $10 back because I was frustrated. So, when you're dealing with prospects, just be patient. At some point, the majority of the time, they are going to do something that will make their price increase. Sometimes not, but most of the time, if you buy them early enough in their career, they're going to have one great season. They're going to have a time period where they hit multiple, double-digit home runs in the course of a month or two. Something is going to happen in that amount of time to, increase their stock. So don't just give up on a guy because you want to save yourself $10. All right. That's pretty much all I have for selling. Selling is just a matter of getting your cards, getting the most amount, or the amount of money you feel comfortable getting for those cards. And if you make $10, you made $10. If you make $100, you made $100. But as long as you are continuing to make money on each sale, you're heading in the right direction. Okay. So think about when you want to sell. Those are all personal options for you. I gave you the 4. You can sell when a player gets hot in the minor leagues. You can sell when a player's about to get called up. You can sell when a player has a lot of success as soon as he gets called up, or you can sell because there's just a random, sporadic influx of interest in a certain player. But either way, you'll make money. You may leave money on the table selling a little early, but have strong hands if you want to, and ride the roller coaster. That's what's fun about this hobby. You never know what's going to happen. Kyle again with Let's Talk Wax, and this is going to wrap up our 3-part series on Prospecting 101. I hope you guys got some good information from this series. You beginner investors, and if you like the videos, please subscribe, please like, and if you have time and you want a place to buy, sell, and trade Bowman Chrome baseball cards, and talk about different products or prospects, join my Facebook group, Bowman and Topps Baseball Card Connector. And I hope y'all have a great weekend, and good luck researching, buying, and selling all your cards. All right. Thanks, guys.